Are we truly alone in the universe? See, this question has intrigued humanity for centuries. Today, on the Galactic Files, we're delving deep into the mysteries of the pyramids of Egypt, extraterrestrial beings, and the profound impact that these have on our understanding of history and our places in the cosmos, along with an incredible interview of our mystery guest. And you guys will be mind blown. So stay to the end and get ready for another incredible episode of the Carlos Inspire Show. The pyramids of Egypt have fascinated historians, archaeologists, and enthusiasts for centuries. One of the most captivating theories suggests that their construction involved the help of extraterrestrial beings with advanced technologies. Imagine beings from other planets using advanced technology to assist Asian civilizations in building these monumental structures. Could our history be far more complex than we ever imagined? Something to think about. Let me know in the comments below. What do you guys think about this? You see, guys, as I was researching and preparing for this show, this is the first time ever that I bring somebody that talks about UFOs and aliens into my show. And throughout my research, I found out myself challenging my own thinking and keeping an open mind. I want all of you to challenge your mind. If you're going to think about something, I want you to think about your own thinking. Have an open mind. Type in your comments below whether you agree or disagree, because it's clear that there are many things out there that we don't have the answer for. Some of the early societies might have hidden knowledge to serve their own agendas, things that they don't want us to know. For instance, did you know that less than 100 people know about a hidden place inside the Great Pyramid? When you are there, the resonance of your voice, due to the power of somatic frequencies, can literally open your pineal gland. You could activate it, allowing you to astrally visit other planets and talking to other civilizations from around the cosmos across time. You can receive downloads of information from ancestors and even communicate with the dead. These structures contain ancient spiritual technology that has been hidden from the human race. Very interesting as I've been preparing for the show. So imagine countless extraterrestrial species making contact with our planet, their histories and encounters meticulously archived, hidden from the public eye. From the spiritual advanced Arcturians to the enigmatic Greys, the powerful of Anunnaki, and the fearsome Draconians. We will explore their stories and their profound impact on humanity. Tonight, we are honored to have with us Alisa Stoni, a divine warrior and beacon of love and unity. Alisa possesses an ancient knowledge and wisdom about galactic races, UFOs, and humanity's true nature. As a Clodian and visionary, she's dedicated to preparing us for the 5D Earth, spreading truth and uniting souls for a harmonious future. Welcome to the stage, my great friend, Alisa Stoni. How are you, my friend?
Hello, my friend. I am wonderful. How are you? You
I
sound like you in a wonderful mood today.
I am super excited for this show. And before we dive into this conversation with you, my friend Alisa, let's briefly let me tell you guys about some of the most fascinating extraterrestrial beings, species known that have interacted with Earth. First, I want to bring here on the stage the Arcturians.
Yeah.
They believe to inhabit the Milky Way in the 11th dimension. The Arcturians are known for their advanced consciousness, telepathy, and spiritual healing, followed by the Greys, residing 40 light years away. The Greys are the infamous for their genetic experiments on humans, following by the Anunnaki, ancient beings from Sirius B, known for their significant influence on human civilization, and then the Draconians, formidable and malevolent Let me bring the Draconians here for you guys to see it, for you guys who are watching us live. If you guys are listening to us on the podcast, highly recommend you guys come over onto my YouTube channel at Carlos Inspires, in the plural, so you guys can see some of those images that I'm bringing on the stage and follow us here. And the Draconians are formidable and malevolent beings, often blamed from numerous sinister activities. So as we explore, guys, some of these fascinating species, it's important to address the debates and controversies surrounding them. There are interesting debates about the Anunnaki, the group from deities from ancient Mesopotamia mythology, known from their advanced technologies and long lifespans. According to Zechariah's teaching, an Anunnaki genetically engineered humans to work as slaves. But the mainstream historians and archaeologists regarded these theories as pseudoscientific. Very interesting as I've been researching and preparing for this show. Some claim that the Anunnaki created one of the earliest civilizations, the Sumerians. And the Sumerians, they actually were incredibly advanced, inventing writing, schools, and the wheel, which revolutionized transportation and irrigation. They also created the chariot, leading to the rise of powerful military civilizations. However, historians and archaeologists still debate how they acquire such an advanced technology. Josh Gates, a seasoned explorer, states, I can confirm that no credible archaeological evidence supports the theory that the internet created humans. The Sumerians, however, are well documented through numerous archaeological finds, establishing them as one of the earliest advanced civilizations. I want to know from you guys watching us, before we delve deep in here with Alisa, what do you guys think about those elements? Because we have a lot of indifferences, and I've been doing so much research, and I'm fascinated by Graham Hancock, another somebody specialized in the subject, on the other hand, suggests that while mainstream archaeology does not support the Anunnaki theory, exploring alternative histories can be intriguing. He emphasizes the importance on differentiating between evidence-based history and speculative theories. So, in summary, guys, think about it, right? The pyramids of Egypt, in Mexico, in Chichen Itza, how were they able to build those things so long ago? It's questionable. You must have some type of help from some type of super advanced extraterrestrial beings. And, so in today's show, we're bringing in Alisa. Thank you for joining us. Let's start with defining moment in your journey, my friend Alisa. You had a chance to see Gaia, aka Terra, Earth, from space. Can you share what was that look like?
Well, as far as like how I got there, I got to see Gaia outside of the dome, as a lot of people are aware now that we are inside of a dome. Some people call it the flat Earth, some people call it the round Earth, but it's actually a combination of both. It's like that, except the Earth part that you have in there is actually flat, and it's kind of like our maps, our world maps is flat. And we just happen to be, in a dome that is covering it. But I was washing dishes one day, and I looked out my window, and there was these man and woman standing in my backyard. So I'm like, well, who the hell is these people in my yard? So I go out there to find out, because there's no fear. I'm just more curious, who are these people is standing in my yard? And they both look like they're dressed more of the 50s is what it made me think of. And as I'm getting, like, who are these people? And I'm getting this attitude as I'm walking towards them. It's like, I know these people. And then I calmed down. And then I just felt like I just knew them, and it was so much love. And I went willingly, because my instinct and my intuition was telling me it wasn't a threat. And whenever I went up to them, and their names is Hanai and Kalin, and they are both Tartarians. And they wanted to take me to have a meeting on a mothership, and I just seemed to be compliant. It's like I already knew this. It was very, very familiar. I had a lot of curiosity, and whenever we got ready to leave, because I was willing to go, which surprised me, but Hanai turned around and he touched the air behind him, and whenever he touched it, it opened up like a door. Okay. And then I was really dumbfounded then, but very, very curious. And as I walked into this door, I could see that it's some kind of like a shuttle. Okay. But you couldn't see it on the outside. You can only see it from the inside. But I could see that it was a small vehicle, like a shuttle type thing. And once I got inside, we started coming up. And then it's like wherever I looked on this craft, I could see outside of it. It's only wherever I was looking, and I can see that my yard, my house, and everything's getting smaller. And then I can see, like South Carolina, because that's where I'm at. And then it got bigger, to see America. And then it got bigger. And then I was like, this can't be the same place, because it doesn't look like the continents that are on our map. It's offset. Something's really not right. And just by that being confused just a little bit on that, it's kind of like we went up and then we turned. And when we turned, we shot out. And whenever we shot out, we actually went outside the dome. And I could see that we were going towards what would be a mothership. Okay. And to my knowledge, this thing was 30 miles long.
Wow.
And whenever we had went up to it, it had like an opening that just automatically opened like a shuttle bay. And it allowed us to come in. And I could see that it had like, it wasn't mechanical. It had like a force field that you would have to go through. And then whenever we got in there and it landed on this pad, I can see all these different layers of different size ships, and from larger ones into smaller ones. And I was just captivated by seeing all of these ships, thinking, oh my God, it's really real, and they're telling me to come on, that I need to go to a meeting. They wanted to take me to my quarters. And that kind of confused me. But as I'm standing there gawking at all of these ships and thinking, this is amazing, I knew this was real. I knew this had to be true. And I'm actually pretty calm about it. And I know that it's from the energy, because the energy is so much better and so much full of love, that you don't get excited, upset, or mad in that, but you do get very curious. And I was just like in a dumbfounded moment of, look at all these ships. And they're telling me, come on. So we went down this long corridor. And at the end of the corridor, we took a right. And then we got on these things that was like shuttle pads, and like an elevator. And we got inside of it, and with no sound or anything, we were at the next floor. And whenever it opened up, there was another long corridor that reminded me of like a hospital corridor. And as I'm walking down it, I can see that it has a giant like bay windows. And whenever I got to the end of it, I could see that Gaia was out there, Earth was out there. And so I went running to the window and just seeing her. And then it dawned on me, that's not the Earth that we are being told about. And they did tell me that that's the real Earth. And as I'm taking it all in, she's absolutely beautiful. She's actually a super Earth, and she's absolutely breathtaking beautiful. She's so beautiful that it's one of those things that you look upon and you can't help but tears come, because it's that beautiful. She is called Blue Diamond for a reason. Okay, she's mostly water in her center, and only land on the top and land on the bottom. And we are trapped inside of a dome on the top part of her. And I was excited at first to see this here site, and very pleased and happy and joyous, and to where I was weeping. And then it just kind of like dawned on me, wait a minute, my brothers and sisters are trapped. My brothers and sisters are really in a prison, that people have talked about through time about us being in a dome or a flat earth. But I mean, for me seeing it, it made me realize that my family was trapped. And it's like, now, how does one consume that? How does one take that in and analyze it and get it set in their head? It's like, wait a minute, we're being told that we're on a Earth that's only 25,000 miles around. And come to find out, she's 600,000 miles around. She is a super Earth, and she spins backwards. Well, it's not backwards. She's spinning the way she's supposed to, clockwise. And in here, they have us in time that is counterclockwise. And then they told me that the dome was 100,000 miles around. And that's where you get the two ice walls that people have heard about, the inner ice wall and the outer ice wall, and then the dome itself. And I just could not believe, I was dumbfounded to find out that we are inside of a dome, a prison that is 100,000 miles around, but they keep us in the center in a 25,000 mile ice wall. We are trapped inside of it, and they consider us cattle. Okay. for all of their nefarious purposes and reasons, whatever it may be. They see us as cattle. They don't see us as human. They don't see us as people. They see us as a product, okay, a commodity, and it just it. I want to say that it infuriated me, but because I was in such a wonderful, loving energy, it was more all that logic kicked in. My brothers and sisters are trapped. How long has this been going on? How did this come about? Who did this to us? And how do these here malevolent evil beings or evil races have control over us? And that began my long journey on discovering all the information that I have collected on how this happened to us and who did it to us. The dome was put up first because of the Anunnaki and the reptilians. They had made such a mess of things and were doing experiments. I mean, everybody knows that God flooded the world, if that tells you how bad it was. But in the beginning, when the Noah's flood was later, that was the second flood. But the first time they put the dome down, the Arturians, the Andromedans, and the Lyrans and the Palladians is the ones that actually put the dome up. And why? It's because they considered it like a T virus. If anybody's ever heard of the T virus in Resident Evil, that's how severe this was. And they had to contain it. They didn't have much choice. They couldn't let it get any further. And so they contained it. And then, upon containing it, it's a frequency. It is a force field that is put over us. But whenever they were bringing it up, it brought up all the water around it, and it's kind of like encapsulated us in the water. Some people call that the firmament, as water up there, but actually it was ice, and a blue ice at that. Whenever that happened, the vibration of putting up that dome, it also shook the ground. And it causes the ground to shake so massively at a frequency way that things would sink into it like quicksand. Okay. And then a lot of things, it came down into the ground, including trees and stuff. But the giants that were in this time, that were a lot of the Anunnaki making mistakes in genetic manipulation and stuff like this here. There was actually cyclops and giants. The giants that I got to see were about 1,000 foot tall. These were titans. And because they wanted reign over this and they were aware of what was happening, it makes everybody scramble and try to survive. And then I got to witness seeing God bring in his 4 angels from the north, south, east, and west. And they had these massive axes that on the blades of these axes, it looked like they were still on fire, like they just coming out of the kiln. And then these angels started chopping down these gigantic trees that were 2,000 feet or higher, the massive trees like you had seen in that movie Avatar, these massive monumental trees. And they started cutting them all down and throwing them into the oceans and stuff. And the purpose of that was to keep the giants from climbing the trees to survive. But in the chaos of all of this, there was a lot of things that sunk, and the frequency got so high that it actually petrified these giants, and it pretty much petrified them where they were at. They would fall down and they'd be part of a mountain or a hill or a cliff and stuff like this. Here are things that we have seen all over the world with like mud fossils has also showed us that of all of these here petrified items. And you're trying to rationalize how did this happen? Well, it was because that frequency was God's punishment, so to speak, to contain it. And it did. It petrified the titans and dragons that existed, and large animals like elephants and turtles and stuff like that. We have seen it all over. But after it finally died down, and the survivors of this was trying to just regroup themselves because it's a matter of survival. You don't care who it is. We just need them because we need their help to try to continue to go forward. And then things kind of like smooth themselves out a little bit. But everything had been destroyed. So it's pretty much like they're starting from scratch. And so that's what they did. They went forwards, and over time, you had everybody working together, and then it gets split again. The duality, the good and the bad, because somebody wants to control, somebody wants to tell everybody what to do and stuff like this here. And whenever that conflict started happening of the division within us of the survivors. That's whenever the Anunnaki came into play.
Interesting.
Okay.
You know what is interesting, Alisa? As I was doing the research, right, is so much things out there. There's a lot of things that we all got to agree that there are things out there that we don't understand. There are so many questions that we don't have answers. For you guys that might be thinking, I believe in God. I read the Bible for my daughter since she was born, but I'm also open to learn new things. I often preach that if we all come together, like I come from some very dark background. My father died in a horrible car accident explosion when I was 3 months old,
Wow.
and my stepfather was actually murdered. So I often tell people, when you go into something dark, that is light in darkness, because I use all the darkness to transform into light. And now I'm on a mission to empower people around the planet, right? In teaching businesses, entrepreneurship, interviewing incredible people like yourself. I have many celebrities on my show in the past 5 years, athletes, CEOs, and there is a lot of things that people, they don't know, like in energy, right? Things that Nikola Tesla and Albert Einstein, they talk about, like, for some of you guys that study Qigong, you can actually fight and move somebody without touching them with energy. There
Yeah.
are frequencies and energy and technology that the military used that is so much more out there. And as I was preparing for the show, Alisa, and I was thinking about it and reflecting on all this, and I was like, isn't it so much things that they actually removed from the Bible, from the tablets, ancient tablets, a lot of the things that if it didn't meet their agenda, if it would have conflict with their agenda and what they were trying to talk about, they removed it. You know what I mean? There's just so much things out there. I want to know from you guys. I want to give a shout out to all. We're just getting started, guys. We're gonna be here for a while. It's gonna be an awesome interview, as you guys can imagine. But I want to give a shout out to everyone on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. I'm watching you guys saying hi to Alisa and ask questions. We are gonna have a great show here, as you guys can imagine. Alisa and I, we just are servant leaders. I often talk about this on the stage. I call selfless sacrifice, giving everything you got in service of others. So we're gonna have a great time here with you guys today. Drop questions below in the comments. This is live. It's gonna be, if you guys catch it later on the replay, drop it in #replay. And Alisa, question for you: did you have any supernatural encounter before this event of you being out there in space watching Gaia? Have you ever had any supernatural encounter before that particular event?
You mean like a profound moment that started all of it?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, I do. In 2004, my father had gotten sick, and me and my father were like enemies. I felt like I was my father's karma because I didn't like him drinking. And I seen the havoc and the heartache that it caused on my family, my siblings, and so forth. And so it was always a disgruntled feeling towards this man. And but it was like it didn't matter what he did. I was always like a counterpart. And he would be like, his words would be like, if you're going to do something stupid on my time, then it's going to cost you. And then I took that, and whenever my father did something stupid on my time, it cost him. And it was like this battle back and forth for many, many years. But in 2004, and the beginning of October, my father got really, really bad. And I realized that my father was going to die. And I was like, yes, finally I get rid of this man and stuff like this here. And I don't have to look back or anything like this here. But because nobody else would take care of him and my mother, I was the one that was chosen to do so. And I did volunteer to do it because of my mother. But 2 weeks before my father passed away, he started pretty much confessing a lot of things, and things that I already knew he did some bad things, but I had no idea the extent of some bad things that he had done. So now I was in a position to either hear him or let him finish confessing so that I can find out more information about what he did. So, and the first thought of it, it was just, I was just curious. It was like I didn't have a heart. I figured he was up to something. But as time went on, he continued to tell me a lot of things, and and I realized he was confessing because he knew he was going to die. And in the process of that 2 weeks, somehow, some way, I actually found myself falling in love with this man. my daddy, not the man that I grew up with, because he finally let all those barriers down and was speaking these things and pretty much confessing. And I was fighting it. It's like, no, no, I didn't expect this to happen. What's happening to me and so forth. But it got me to where I would listen better to what he was saying, and I became more attentive, because he was on hospice and stuff like this here. And then October 28th, 8 days after my birthday, he passed away. And I had my hand on his chest when he took that last breath. And I got so mad. I couldn't believe it. This man that I hated and despised my entire life, my heart was changed, and actually it hurt whenever he died. And because I wasn't sure how to adjust to that, because it kind of like hit me really hard, I went running out the door. And whenever I went running out the door, it started pouring so hard that it was hurting my arms, because that's how hard it was hitting my skin. And I'd never experienced rain like that. And I'm just trying to, what happened? What's going on? Why do I care? And then I started crying. And I looked up, and I could see out of all of this rain and stuff, the sky opened up, and I could see all of these angels, and they were crying, and I'm confused. It's like, what's happening and why are they crying? And God told me, this is the first time I actually heard God clear as day. God said, they're crying because they're happy. I says, well, why are they happy? And God said, because you did what you were supposed to do. And I'm still crying and upset, but what did I do? And God said, you forgave him. And that was a defining moment in my life, that I realized that something, as I want to say, as simple as forgiveness, can find you something so much more powerful if you don't let that negativity or the evil latch a hold of you and continue to go for it. But that was one of my missions that I was shown that I actually did complete, was to forgive this man. And not just forgive this man, but to realize that every one of us, and that includes every one of you, are me, and I am you, and God helped me see that. It's not, we're not individual. We appear to be individual, but we are not. We are God in a body, okay, having a human experience, okay.
Amen.
And but that changed, because I could hear God so clearly talking to me, and so that made me want to hear it again. Like, what am I doing? How do I go now that I've heard you? Can you lead me? I need your help. Now that I know that you exist, I'm willing to accept that. And then it was like nothing like crickets for a while. And then I started guessing, well, maybe this was just an illusion. Maybe I had lost my mind. you know,
Yeah,
um,
Lisa, it's funny. As you are telling me this, I was thinking of my grandma. I learned so much. God, rest in peace, Maria Lucia. And she forgave my grandpa. And her, since I didn't have a father, right? Anybody my mom would date or marry, they would either die or get murdered. And I was bullied my entire childhood. They called my mama a viuva negra, the black widow. And as you're talking about this moment, I had my moment with God at age 6.5. I was tired seeing my mom and my grandma being abused behind closed doors. I was tired of being poor, going on rice for several weeks at a time.
yeah,
And my world, growing up in Brazil, now I live in California, in Silicon Valley, it was all violence, and that's all I knew. And when you focus on darkness for so long, look
mhm,
what happened to any Star Wars fans, to Darth Vader's son. He, if you hang around the barbershop long enough, you're gonna get a haircut.
yep,
And he became so dark to the point to killing his father. The anger that you had, and I had the anger for my grandfather because I saw the abuse that he did to my grandma and
yeah,
I. And my grandma taught me one of the greatest lessons in my lifetime, which is é melhor sorrir do que chorar. That means it's better to laugh instead of crying, my son. Keep
yeah,
shooting for the stars, that for the moon, that you will land among the stars. Put yourself around great people, trying to find light in darkness. The only reason we know love is because we once experienced hate. Somebody's needed to hear this today. And as you're telling that story, I feel God going, talking through us,
mhm,
speaking to this crowd
mhm,
and everybody here. It's just yeah, you give me a lot of memories, things to think about. And as I have the honor to speak several languages, go around the world and speak life into others through inspirational speaking, and just helping people. And I love you playing full out. The love that you are getting right now here on social media is incredible. Just want to give you guys another shout out. Loves conquers all. Shout
Thank
out Angie, Golden Arrow,
you. Hey,
new
Nora.
new beginnings, man. You guys just showing love over here. We got folks over here on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. We love you guys. We appreciate it. Without you guys, we couldn't do this. And we appreciate a lot of the show's proceedings. We help others that are facing hunger. I support a lot of single moms, veterans. I am an advisory council member for Team USA MMA. I help a lot of athletes. I help a lot of veterans. So heart it up. The way how you guys can help us, heart it up. Drop the like button.
That's
Drop
right.
a comment. Ask us questions. Share this to others because a lot of people out there right now are confused.
Yeah.
People out there, they needed to learn this. Like I told you guys at the beginning, let's all have an open mind. Nobody's here to preach any religion or anything or any political stuff. I always tell people if we put our political and religious things on the side, we can eliminate hunger, sex trafficking, organ trafficking, so many problems around the world just by coming together, learning to agree to disagree, just to empower one another, collaborate. How I invited Alisa to be here on my show, and now bringing you guys into a new entire realm that I never talked about it before, which is UFOs, aliens, some of my own supernatural abilities. And I'm loving this question. And the next question is actually pretty intriguing. It's 1986. Once upon a time, you are in Houston. You were invited to a big party with a helicopter waiting on the rooftop.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about this moment, my friend Alisa?
Oh my gosh, that was an experience. I was, young and dumb, but it was all about, partying and going here and doing that, But I had went to a big party in Houston, and then from that party, I got invited to another party, and we were told that we were going to leave to go to this other party on a helicopter, so we had to go to the top of the building, and I'm all down for that, let's have fun, And so we get up there, and it's me and my girlfriends are with me, and my girlfriend Kelly, she starts getting sick, so we had to stop right there on top of the rooftop while she's getting sick, and and we're there patting her on the back and stuff like this here, and I love the view, and I'm looking around, and on the other rooftop over there, I see something, and this is about before it gets dark, so I still have enough light that I can see the top of this building, okay, and something was moving, and that made me look a little harder, and it didn't move like a human, and I was like, now I'm really curious, what is that? Yeah, maybe I've had too much to drink. Somebody done put something in my drink, because I wasn't sure what this thing was, but compared to the size of like the stuff that was sitting on top of the roof, I could tell that it was probably about 7 foot tall or more. Okay, but yet it was moving in a very weird way. So as my girlfriends are taking care of my other girlfriend and she's puking, I am really looking at this thing going, what is this? And I can see that it seems to be mechanical. That's a good picture. That right there is a good picture. But the head had the tentacles coming off of it like dreadlocks. But I could see that they were moving individually. They can move by themselves. And then it had on what looked like a doll mask. Okay. And as it's looking around, and it also has a skirt on like that picture you had there. As it's looking around, I noticed that it opens its face up like that. And now it seems like it's scanning for something, and it's looking around, and it looks directly towards us. That's when I got scared. I'm like, oh, this thing can see me. And it just scanned right past me. It's like we weren't a threat. We weren't anything that it was concerned about. Whatever it was looking for, thank God it wasn't looking for me. But I can tell that it was looking for somebody or something. But then I seen it come off of the building, and it actually kind of like climbed its way down, like something out of the Matrix, the Sentinels, and it was just really, really strange. And I was like, what was that? And I'm hitting my friends. Forget about Kelly. Look at this. What is that?
Did they saw Alisa as well?
They caught it as it was coming down off of the building, and then they were all like, "Oh no, that's no, something's wrong." And then my other girlfriend Teresa starts freaking out.
Too much drugs, Alisa.
That's not normal. And then it disappeared, and then we're like poor Kelly, we just dropped her. She just fell to the ground because we're just, what was that? You know, but I got the best look at it. And I, for that entire evening, I was even scared to have a drink because I was like, you know, what happened to me? But I do know it was very real.
Wow.
And I never seen it again and didn't even know what it was until about 2 years ago. It was whenever I finally got to see what that creature was. And it's actually an archon. Okay. And that is totally, completely AI. This is like the Borg on steroids. Okay. And there is no flesh to them. They're totally nanobot. They're totally AI. And they're the ones that actually pretty much created and controlled the Greys. They needed something of flesh to put out there in front of people because people didn't like the AI aspect of them. So just like the Borg in Star Trek, they brought the Queen out that would more human looking so that she can actually speak to somebody. That's who they wanted to represent them. But that's what the Greys pretty much done. But those are malevolent biological computers. Is pretty
Yeah,
much.
listen, I got a question for you because a lot of people that are watching us, that will be listening to this episode, you know, we're already having so much interaction here online. I can imagine how much more interaction and questions people are going to have. A lot of people here watching us also may had some supernatural, you know, things happen to them, like moments where God's spoken with us. Like, you know, I didn't even think I finished telling you guys my story about when I was at a dark kitchen, and because of all the abuse that I saw, I didn't want it to be here anymore. And I wrote that letter, and I was going to stab myself at 6.5 because of all the abuse that I seen. And right before I did it, Alisa, I heard something. I called the whispers from God.
Oh,
And you know what he said? That was my first supernatural moment in life. And he said, "Hey, son, I know it sucks. I know you're hearing your mother being abused behind closed doors and your stepfather storm out of the house for days at a time. And she wipes the tears in her eyes like if everything is okay. And you see, and you and your grandma being abused also mentally and physically by your grandfather. And that was a military man and a policeman that deal with a lot of drinks and alcoholic, and they will come home and done horrible things to us that I don't wish no woman or kids have to go through what I went through in life. And that's why my mission in life is to end abuse and help kids and women and businesses around the planet. But it was so beautiful. And God also told me one more thing, ladies and gentlemen. He said, "Hey, kid, your future doesn't have to equal your past unless you carry on the stories with you." Who? Somebody say it one more time, Brother Carlos. Your future doesn't have to equal your past unless you carry on the stories with you. And at that moment, sister, I dropped that knife and I decided to make a difference, to go around the world and empower. My mission is to empower over 1 billion lives and help as many people as I can. But tell me something. If somebody that wanted to learn, and maybe they have had some supernatural, maybe they've seen things or they want to learn more, what are some of the things that you study that you would recommend? Like for example, to learn some of the things, like how, like, do you receive some of your messages when you are communicating with other beings from outer space? How you are receiving this information? Like, is there something that you do in particular? You study? Is it gifted? Is anything that you can tell the viewer that want to learn, that want to go deeper and learn more about this? How do you receive your information?
Well, I did my own research as far as like UFOs go. You know, I did pretty much like everybody else did. I would go and seek it, try to use my own discernment if this person is telling the truth or not, or anything like that there. But it actually kind of led to the first time that I had that profound moment with my dad. God had told me that I was everybody, you know, and I didn't know how to take that in. And then here years later, well, 20 years later, I was laying in my bed and I heard this most soothing, comforting voice. It said, "Alisa, get up." And I did it. I complied because, I mean, it was just like such a loving voice. And as soon as I stood up, I had this light that came down through the top of my head and it went slap through me. And I can see that it's going to the ground and into the ground. And I can actually see that it's going all the way to the core of Gaia. And as soon as it hits Gaia, she rebounds. So now I got a light coming down, I got a light coming up, and it's going like this here. And then I'm not sure what's going on, but then I just started vibrating, and it's such a blissful feeling. I don't even have no words to describe it. It was just pure love, and the light just kept getting wider, and then I was consumed in this light, and I was pretty much, with my arms out, and I was vibrating and feeling this total bliss. But I can actually feel and hear Gaia and God talking back and forth each other, and it was like the most profound romance that I can think of. I've never experienced a romance, a love, a desire, a longing, a connection like they were having towards you. It's like they hadn't spoken to forever, and it was just for this dome part. But whenever it got done, the light started coming more narrower, and to where it was nothing, and then I could see that I was over the grid inside of the dome with 199 other brothers and sisters just like myself. I was not the only one that was doing this. So, and then God had told me that we were nodes to bring in all of this information. And whenever I got brought back here, I wasn't brought back hard, but whenever I got back here, I kind of collapsed to the floor, and I was trying to understand what happened to me. And that's whenever God let me know that I was a node, and I was bringing in all this information so that we can wake up our brothers and sisters. And so, but I was trying to, again, well, what am I doing? What is my purpose and stuff like this here? And God showed me, which went back 20 years ago. God showed me, I want you to see that you're everything. So God took me down to let me see, like, above the cities and stuff like this here, and I was coming down into the cities. It's like God was carrying me, and everything I see, no matter what person or animal or whatever, it had my face. And that was what? And God said, you are everything you see, no exception. It's all me, and I created this with you because you wanted to experience this, and your purpose is to wake up your brothers and sisters, but they are you, and you need to tell them that they're all the same being. They just look different on the outside, and I didn't, it was like I was looking at a world that was a massive insane asylum, the good and bad of me, the positive and the negative of me. And God told me that I had to accept all of it, that it was me, because there's no exception. It's all God. And I found a problem with that, because who wants to look at the negativity and say, well, that's me? No, nobody really wants to do that. But in every good movie, you got to have the bad guys.
Yeah.
But it did solidify into me that I was everyone, with no exception, and everybody is my family. It doesn't matter what color your skin is and where you're from. We are all one family. And that's what they used against us to help divide us as well. Our color of our skin, our churches, our religions and stuff like this here. Yeah.
Do you know what I always say, Alisa, about that? I have a saying, which is, it's not where we come from. It's not where we went to school, who we know, how many followers we have, how much we have in the bank account, or the color of our skin.
Right.
It's our attitude that's
Right.
going to make every single one of us win.
Right.
It's something that I always preach. I always talk about this from the stage. And you're talking about purpose. I bet you a lot of people are listening to us thinking about, when is the last time that you ask yourself, what is the purpose of my life? Write it down. Journaling is very good to cope with mental health, to cope with stress. I often like, and then if you don't like something, just write it down. All the things that you don't like, then burn that piece of paper, and read books. Put yourself around people like Alisa, like myself. Listen to our podcast. Follow us on YouTube. There'll be a link in the description for Alisa's YouTube. You guys are already here on my YouTube, and follow us. We are constantly putting videos, great knowledge that can help you guys, that can equip you guys, that can educate you guys on so many. Alisa, with all her wisdom in this realm of the things that she's been talking about. And then I do a lot of education on entrepreneurship, on businesses, being a creator, creating your YouTube channel, building a brand. And we teach all those things for free, guys. We come here with nothing. We leave without nothing. My purpose in life is I often have a speech that I do that I call transcendence. And that's a military term, which is above oneself. That is a place where we all eat on the same table. That is a place that is no casualties. That is a place that we all come home together. That is a place where we transmute from darkness to light. I think that's the purpose of life that I wish and I pray for every single person watching us, commenting here right now, everyone listening to my voice, sending you massive love, success. And a question pop up here, Lisa. That's why I love those live shows. Somebody from the audience asked the question about the AI that you were talking about on the rooftop. And the question was, so they are good. So was that AI good? What a great question. What do you think? What did you decipher at that moment? I know that you are spiritually gifted, supernatural.
Mhm.
What was your deciphering at that moment? Was those AI beings good or not? That you,
No, that definitely was a malevolent
Mhm.
being, and I found out like 2 years ago just how malevolent they are, and it made me realize that they are some really evil characters in this game. But as far as like how I discovered a lot of this is whenever God put that light for me, which has happened to me 9 times over 2 years. I don't know if God opened or awakened my DNA or he put it in me, one or the other. But I had gained a lot of stuff that there was no way I could have known it. And but I did do my own research because of the things that was inside of me. Well, if this is true, then I need to go find out. And God had showed me, things that some people don't want to hear, but showed me that there is hybrid reptilians that are running all these governments, and that made me curious. So of course I wanted to dig, and find out what I could about the characters that we are dealing with. And we are, in a sense, we are in a game. Okay. There's only one God, one. There's nothing else, just one. So how does that one God entertain itself? It makes copies of itself from the macro to the micro. Okay. And now God has put you, and so if everybody are gods, they can't really have a good conversation. In other words, I'm just going to say it like that. So God's plan was to put us inside this game. I'm going to leave it like that, the matrix, and for us to get a veil over our eyes, where we don't know who and what we are. And the goal of this game is to wake up and remember who you are. That's the goal of the game. Because once you wake up and realize that you are God in a body, not a human, then you can control the game. And it is all based on either positive or negative. If you want positive, you will receive positive. If you want negative, you're going to get that too. And you don't want to get karma out of your way, then you need to get the negativity off of you or out of you that you are carrying. Okay, it's because this world has put it on us and made us absorb this negativity and made us seem like it's the norm, and it's not. It was put upon us. We didn't go seeking it. It was put upon us, and that made the game really, really harder. Well, just like with any game, you're going to have your obstacles and so forth, but it's like the hero's journey. The whole point is to realize that you are God in a body on this playing field and to wake up to it so that you can control it. But this particular game is so special because we need everybody to wake up. We're all warriors here to change the world because we are catapulting to 5D, and we need to get our vibration high enough and love in our hearts and realize that we're one family. Okay, and work together, and we can beat this game with such glory that we have no idea what's coming for us. 5D and the advanced technologies that I will be telling you about plays a big role in this to help us catapult to 5D.
I love it. And Alita, I've been having some great questions here. And I have a ton of questions for you myself, but the public has been asking some great questions. Golden asked a great question here. Let's get it. When will you be going again? Do you have to come back? That's a great, interesting
That's a good
question.
question. Well, I do know that the next time that I leave, I will not be coming back because I will be going to the medbed facilities that I'm responsible for. And so therefore I will not be coming back. And this is not my home, so I don't have to worry about that aspect of it. The only thing that's going to come out, the only thing that's leaving with me would be my son, my animals, and a beach towel. That's it.
And I love
Nothing
it.
in this house,
Here-
nothing in this house is worth me taking compared, because I've already been there. I know what's there. So and the energy is so wonderful and so loving and pleasing, my brothers and sisters, that whenever I came back here in this energy, it was like I was walking around in oil. That's how big of a difference it is. This energy is a lot heavier than that energy there. Okay. And that's what the goal is, to get there, because it's kind of like we're in the swamp. You know, it's thick, it's muddy, and that's the energies that we have been running around in for so long. And I'm looking forward to being able to go back to the islands, as people has heard me talk about, because the energy is so clean and so pure and so loving. There's no worries, no fears, no doubts, nothing like that. I mean, you feel so good, that you don't have a care in the world, and that love comes forth even more, wanting to bring your family to that, bring your brothers and sisters into that, because it feels that good, and you want to share that gift with them because they are just as worthy and deserving as you are.
Wow. I have the order. Everybody over here. I want to go.
Thank
People
you,
like
thank you.
everybody,
Hey,
Angie and
Joe.
Joe and New
Angie.
Beginnings.
Yeah.
Everybody over here is fired up. New Beginnings actually has a great question. And do these reptilians cloak themselves or wear masks? How does the public not know? What is your take on that?
The reptilians have a very special ability, just like the chameleon. And just like the chameleon can change its colors to blend into something, well, the reptilians and the Dracos can actually make their vibration change to where either you can't see them or they will appear to look human. Okay. And that's all based on a frequency that they can do. They don't really have a pineal gland, but they do have a gland there that is a special ability of theirs to be able to hide or cloak or change into something that's non-threatening. And we have a lot of those within our government, within our schools, within the ones that matter, doctors, hospitals,
Yes.
shit like this here. So that they infiltrated us so much that they are the ones that was controlling the game. And now that I am awake and I'm trying to wake up my brothers and sisters, and so we can take back that control. And thank goodness that God has sent so much help to accomplish this goal. And one of the things about my brothers and sisters is that, you believe that reptilians run the governments. You believe that the Greys have done vile things to our children. You believe in the Anunnaki, and you believe that CERN is opening up a portal to let demons in. But whenever I come onto the scene and tell you that the good guys are here and that good benevolent beings are here and the angels and God is on the scene, you're like, whoa, 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 that's too much. Really? Well, if you can believe in the negative, then you can daggum well believe in the positive, because the positive is real and it will always, always have the upper hand on the negative. It's kind of like 51% and 49%. God will always have the upper hand no matter what. And we are all sent here to unite, to bring ourselves together and realize that we are God, in bodies, and to change the whole scene so that we can go to heaven on earth in 5D. That's our goal.
Wow, that's incredible, incredible, my friend. And as you're thinking here, I want to go there with you. I want to go visit and hang out. I also want to go check it out, the pyramid, the Great Pyramid. I was
Oh, yeah.
fascinated by researching that less than 100 people know about that,
Right.
and the ones who've been there talking about some crazy stuff like activating your pineal gland and talking to ancestral, just fascinating. And speaking of fascinating, here's back to some of my questions, and then we'll get right back to you guys. You found yourself being interrogated
Oh,
by
God.
this frogman looking like beings. When you and I were talking, we had a great time. Please describe that encounter, what it went down when you were talking to this frog looking like
That's a great picture.
I figure you like I told you I had some surprises
That's a
for
great
you.
picture. Well, there were several things that happened whenever that incident happened to me. A lot of my brothers and sisters are aware that I am a gamer, and I was sitting and playing my game, Demon Souls, and I had taken a pause, and all of a sudden, it's like this here vortex or something showed up in front of me. It's like in front of the TV, but not. All I know is that something opened up and I got sucked through it. And whenever I got sucked through it, it's like I was going so fast, my brain couldn't even comprehend it. But I was going so fast, and then I was like, boom, and I was in this chair, and I was underneath this light. It's like I was being interrogated. I wasn't tied down or anything like that there, but I realized oh my God, I'm in an interrogation room. Just that fast, I realized it. And then these here dudes started popping their heads in and out of the light. Who are you? What quadrant are you from? How did you get here? And they kept doing it. And whenever they popped in their heads, the only thing that I can describe them as a good way to do it is everybody knows what Jabba the Hutt's head looks like. Yeah. It's something like that, except they did have bodies heavy on the top part, but they had fedoras on and these black trench coats. And that made me think of MIB, right? And I'm thinking, oh my God. And there again, who are you? And how did you get here? And what quadrant are you from? And they kept popping their heads in and out, and their mouths are like as wide as their ears. And I could tell they have flesh looking skin, but they kept doing it. And I didn't feel threatened. I was just blown away by this. And then I just kind of like grabbed the arms of the chair and I said, the question is, who are you? And as soon as I said that, I was gone. And then I went back through this vortex thing and boom, I was sitting back on my bed in front of the game. And what happened to me? What was that? And then I thought it was kind of funny because they were frog looking people. But then I got up and I was looking around. What happened? Did I shift? Did I go someplace else? What happened? And I couldn't find any differences because I even walked outside and I was really looking. And then I sat back down on my bed and I realized I had left my game open. And I was just feeling all this. And no, I don't want to play my game. So I went to go close it. And that's when I said, oh, no, I did shift.
Wow.
The game is called, to me, it's called Demon Souls. Okay. But whenever I got ready to turn it off, it didn't say that anymore. It said Demons Souls. It had an apostrophe S. And I'm like, that is not right. That's not true. That's a lie. I know for a fact I've been playing this game for almost 2 years. I know it said Demon Souls, not Demons Souls. So any gamers out there, please let me know about that because
wow,
that was a Mandela effect too. So
wow. Another fascinating question I have for you, something that we were discussing when you and I having a good time talking on the phone, and an 8-foot tall Mayan tribal figure.
Man.
I am an Inca descendant from the Amazon, from Brazil. So the Mayan, I love my Mayan brothers and my Inca brothers and all the civilization and the Indian tribes. But so an 8-foot tall Mayan tribal figure in a robe took you to your glass beach house. What was the experience like? This is the closest picture that I can think of it. I know that I'm about to butch it. It doesn't look like that, but it's what I have. So, talk to me about this 8-foot Mayan tribal figure that took you to your glass beach house.
Before the pandemic, I was looking to buy a house. Okay, I wanted something of my own, blah, blah, blah. So I went looking, and just couldn't find what I wanted. But I found something that was suitable. And I said, oh, okay, all right, well, I'll just settle for this one here because it seemed to be in my price range and everything else. And then the pandemic hit, and then this realtor woman is telling me, oh, we got to do this in 24 hours, or because of all this stuff that happened. I said, I'm not going to do that unless, I get the house inspected. So then she calls me back and says the homeowner is willing to take $10,000 less then what asked if I would do this within 24, 48 hours. And I said, again, I'm not going to do that without a house inspection. So everything fell through, right? And then I got back here and I was like, God, what happened? I was like right at the threshold of getting this house. What happened? I deserved it, and then God says, well, because you were settling. I said, that's the only thing I can afford. I can't go get the one that I want because that's all I could afford. And God says, well, you're limiting yourself. And I said, well, I don't understand. I only went with what I could afford. How am I supposed to go above that? And God says, well, if I want you to build what you want, no holds barred, and there's no amount of money you have to worry about. Just tell me what you want from your heart, what you desire, if it was your perfect home. So I built it on my computer. And it was a 2-story, 5,000 square foot glass beach house. To most, they would say maybe it's an observatory. I don't care. I like it. And but it's all glass. It has a beautiful glass top to it so that I can look out at the stars. And then I was like, okay, well, that's what I want. And I'm thinking, that's like $1 billion right there, probably. But 3 weeks later, I had Hanai and Kaylin come pick me up. And they took me again outside the dome and took me to an island on the center of Gaia. And they took me to that glass beach house. And who was there was this Mayan man. He was 8 foot tall. And then there was this woman there, and I know now that she's from Talos, and she was about 7 foot tall. She was really beautiful. She had a white silver hair. She had lavender eyes and alabaster skin, and she had like a pink, purplish robe looking thing on. No makeup. I mean, no rings and makeup and stuff like this here. And then he had on the only thing I can describe it is a Mayan type robe, and his haircut it made me think of Mayan. And he was a very distinguished gentleman with the longer kind of nose, and his eyes were a beautiful golden yellow like a lion's, except they were human looking. And it was just that really deep, sincere look about him. But they were both really nice and very wonderful. Her name was Salanda, and which means silence, and she is from Talos. And his name, I can't pronounce it correctly, but I'm going to try. his name is Tiznul. It's Ahtenul. Tiznul. So and I was like having a hard time remembering that. I was like, I won't remember that, but I fortunately I do. But his name actually means give an abundance to others. Give an abundance to others. And I thought that was really, really cool, because that's right like me. I want to be able to help. So that told me that he was here to help in that aspect too. And they were showing me that they're the ones that were responsible for building this glass beach house. And to me, because I built houses for a living, I'm looking at this glass and it goes all the way around and there's no seams in it. And I'm like, how did y'all do this? Did you just bring in one large circle piece of glass and put it down? And then they showed me, no, that it came in pieces. And because of the advanced technology, you put two pieces together, two pieces of glass together, and then you put this little thing on it on both sides, and it'll run up that seam, and then it melts it and makes it one piece. And they built this house in 3 weeks.
Wow.
Which would be, a good 2 years. Or maybe a little less than that, but here. And I was like, well, if you did all this in 3 weeks, this is what I want to do. I want to build these glass houses, because I mean, if you take it down to a smaller type house, you can do that in a matter of less than a week. So to me, that was productivity. That's something I can get done fast. And I was all for it, because it is like puzzle pieces. And there's other types that I'm going to be doing as well, but that's going to be one of my main things is to do that. So, but they are the ones that was telling me about, they are the ones that helped build it. They're the one that made sure everything that I desired was right there. Wow. And then my question was, well, you're telling me that my brothers and sisters can't come outside the dome because the energy is too much and their bodies wouldn't be able to handle it. How am I outside the dome on this island on Gaia, and it's not affecting me? And I'm looking right at them, and then they kind of looked at each other, and then they looked back at me like I'm supposed to know this answer. So, and then they looked down at my arms, and that made me look down at my arms, and I could see all the hairs on my arms were glistening like in rainbow colors. It was very, very light, but I could see my whole body had this little sheen around it. And I was like, oh, so I guess my energy must be high enough. And they were telling me that I was already had a crystalline body. I'm just still in this here body form. And I said, so my thing was, I'm half glass. No, not half glass. The DNA and stuff, just like we have a crystal in our pineal gland, our cells will get those crystals in it as well. It's called crystalline instead of carbon. The crystal will replace the carbon. Wow. And, but the breathtaking view of being on that island outside of the dome, my brothers and sisters, I wept. It's that beautiful. I could not help myself. It was that beautiful that I want to be able to share it with all of you. And I know that we are all going to be able to see it. But what this is called the big lie. And now I know why it's called the big lie. It's because my brothers and sisters have no idea that we are on a super earth or that we are entrapped in what I would call a cage. And so that's the reason why it pushes me to tell my brothers and sisters about this, because I want them to see, and I want to share with all of you that you deserve to see what I see and be a part of it and to get to 5D. And as God tells me, our job is to leave no man behind, my brothers and sisters.
Amen, sister. Amen. And it's funny you say that, because I just had a great question that popped up here on the comments from the audience from New Beginnings. Do you think that the dome would ever be removed? What a great question.
Yes, that is a good question. Thank you. Yes, it will be removed. If a lot of people are familiar with the photon belt, we hit the photon belt, which the Mayans spoke of. We hit the photon belt in 2012, and we're riding a wave up like a roller coaster in that, and it's 2,000 light years across. Okay, it's going to take us 2,000 years to get across this light band of the photon belt. But as we go up that, it takes 1,000 years to get to the top of that wave, and then 1,000 years to get to the bottom of that wave. But as we're going up, that Gaia's frequency will get so high that the dome will pop.
Wow.
Okay. And so what we need to do is, reason why this advanced technology is here, is to get our brothers and sisters in and out of these med beds, to get our bodies younger, stronger, get all the toxins, all the metals, all the bad things that's in our bodies out, so that whenever that dome comes down, we can take that blast of light that's going to go slap through us. And if there's any obstacles in there, it will blow up pretty much. And if you're evil, you just disintegrate. You just disintegrate and you're gone. But that's the reason why we're here, is to make sure that we get our brothers and sisters online and up to par, so that we can take them home. And they are aware of this. They just don't remember. They are everybody, you should know in the depths of your soul that this is our mission, and our goal is to wake each other up so that we can get home, and to help get the ones that got trapped in the reincarnation loop, get them out of here, because we have some pros in here that got stuck. And it's our job to help them to remember and bring them back over and to take them home. That's our goal, is to do it
I
as a
love it.
family.
I love it. And Alisa, here's a great question that I also have for you. And things took a dramatic turn when the gray aliens showed up. Can you recount that incident?
Yeah.
And the part two of that question is, I want you to walk us through that incident. The gray dudes showed up, and are all grays bad?
Yes, they are. They are a biological computer, pretty much. They are controlled by a hive mind, and behind that hive mind is the archons. Okay, they control the grays, and but they have no empathy. They have no soul. Okay, they're like a clone. That's pretty much what they are. And they had come here and tried to say that they're from the future, and because things got so bad, they're trying to come back in time to fix things. No, that's a lie. Okay, they're masters at manipulation and so forth. But whenever the dome got put up and everything, and things did get divided once again, the Anunnaki that were here, they split, and they split from the Anunnaki to the Wananaki, meaning the good guys and the bad guys in the Anunnaki. And the Tarians and the Tartarians also split. They were Tarians, and then they split into Tartarians. And but whenever the Anunnaki got control of inside the dome, the reptilians were underneath the ground, and then they started working in unison to make our lives worse, to make a long story short. But the grays came in, and they seen a golden opportunity. They can control all of this and use it for nefarious reasons. So I am not an Anunnaki fan. I am now, pretty much, but they were taken and controlled and put chips and stuff inside of them to make them be controlled. So, but the grays were controlling all of it, not just the Anunnaki and the reptilians, but us as well. And this is how evil these some suckers are. Almost cuss. That's how evil these dudes are.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I was doing some research about the grays, and it's like they have no feelings, right? So
Right.
you guys start looking into, they have none of their reproductive parts,
Right.
and they have no feelings. They were literally, the research that I was doing, where they were doing experiment abducting humans and doing, and have no feeling as they torture them, and I was like, what the heck? And here's a great question for you, my friend. What is a question that no one has ever asked you, but you wish they would have asked you?
Well, okay, well, a profound moment. I've already told you that. But I do wish that people would have asked me more about Archangel Michael. That was an experience that I will never forget, and I will carry it the rest of this life, because it was absolutely phenomenal. Just like every game gets a update, okay, or it resets itself at the end of the game, and then you have to start all over again. Well, I was part of God's Legion, and my name was Sandoni, and I was a commander, and my my commander, which was Commander Jiro, okay, we were tasked with bringing this crystal to Earth from the seventh dimension down to the fourth dimension, and it was probably about the size of a baby, but it was more of oblong shaped. And Commander Jiro put it in his breastplate to carry it as we were coming down. And as we were coming down, is whenever I seen that we were going to Mount Shasta. Okay, Mount Shasta has a massive library in it. Okay, it goes for miles, my brothers and sisters. This is the hugest library on, or should say, underneath the surface here, other than they have massive ones underneath the Sphinx and the pyramids as well. But this one here is like the main one. But we were bringing this here crystal because a crystal can hold all the information. Just that one crystal held all the information for the solar system. Okay, if that tells you how much a crystal can hold in information wise, but it was to pretty much reset the game here. And so we were bringing it down. And as we were coming down, we got interrupted by these Dracos. They are different than the reptilians. They're bigger, they're stronger, they're alphas, and they're very vile. And the ones that we were dealing with, yeah, like that. And they were darker in color like that, but they also had wings. And their wings were like bats, with the skin in between it. But their wings were about the size of their body. And mine and my commander's was almost like 1.5 times the size of our body. But they came in, and whenever they came in, they came straight at us. And then now we're in this battle. Okay. And I'm like, wow, I have to, because I'm a gamer, I can appreciate it now that I'm looking back at it. But they're almost got the best of us because they ended up, they were coming at me, and my commander kind of like intervened and punched one of them out of the way, kind of like hitting them full force. And it went flying in one direction. And then my commander crashed into like the base of Mount Shasta, and he actually hurt his knee. And just as soon as he stood up, I mean, this is how advanced the frequency was. His knee healed like that. It instantly healed. So he can rebound pretty back to get to these here Dracos. And just as we are having to deal with 3 to 2, it's getting kind of hard to do. And then all of a sudden, Archangel Michael and Gabriel and Raphael came in. Okay. And we're all about 15 feet tall. And so was these Dracos. They were about the same size. And Archangel Michael came in whenever that white Draco, the alpha, came in, and he was white, and he was about 15 feet or higher. And then it was like a massive battle because they wanted that crystal. They didn't want us to get into Mount Shasta to complete our mission. And Michael, I can admire the way that he looked and what he had, but his sword, it was like his sword was pure light, but yet it was fire at the same time. But yet you can see the shape of the blade. Okay. And whenever he hit one of these here Dracos, it pretty much cut it in half. And as it cut it in half, they just disappear. I mean, this is pretty powerful. This is God's power. But we did succeed in that because whenever the white alpha came in, he actually brought in 3 more guys with him. So now we got still uneven numbers, but we got Archangel Michael and Gabriel and Raphael there, and we accomplished the task. And then we actually went down to Mount Shasta, and there was like these giant looking statues on the side of what would be like these humongous looking doors. But then this, to my surprise, this technology was looking at us, and it was scanning us. And if you didn't have the right DNA and the right frequency, you can't get through the door. And that's an excellent security. That's what I think anyway. So we end up going in, and we have to go past these barriers the further back that we go. But then we got to a certain point where we couldn't go past that barrier. And then this tall, I want to call it a tall white, I don't know what else to call it, but it was a benevolent being. And we handed the crystal to it, and then it walked through that last barrier where we were not allowed. But as we were walking through this library, it's kind of like advanced technology beyond your wildest dreams. And the further back you go, it gets into older stuff and older until it gets to scribes and scrolls and rocks and all cuneiforms and all that kind of good stuff. And then behind that, it starts all over. Advanced technologies. So somewhere in there, it broke. And that's what we were a part of, that we used to have this advanced technology, and then all of it was taken from us, lost, destroyed, or whatever. And then we had to pretty much reset, and we had to start all over again from scratch. But I did find that very fascinating. The library just goes for miles and miles and miles.
That is fascinating. I don't live too far from there, one of my properties. I have a question for you about technology. Before I go into that question, I have a question over here that popped up. Angie asked, can you share what do you know about the white dragon and the black dragon? Since 2024 is the year of the dragon.
Yeah.
So what can you tell us about that?
Well, I remember the Mother White Dragon and the Mother Black Dragon from the 4D Wars in Agartha before it became Agarthia. And that's what the Lord of the Rings is. It's pretty much telling you the war and stuff that happened in Agartha. And that is, everybody knows that Agartha is underneath the ground. But there was the Mother White Dragon, which she's absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. She's about the size, I would say she's almost the size of New York. And she's huge, but she's absolutely beautiful. And she only comes out of her cavern once a year to bathe in the sun. And whenever she does, she stretches out as much as she can, and she just glistens, like opal. That's the only way that I can describe it, like diamonds and opal. She was that breathtakingly beautiful. But her counterpart, well, the white one is Miranda, and the black one is Madeira. And they were pretty much twins, positive and negative. But Madeira had been captured by the orcs and so forth underneath the ground and tortured to have her produce really evil eggs to prepare for the 4D wars. But both of these characters are beautiful in their own right. When I was playing Dark Souls 3, which is my favorite, by the way, in that game, towards the end of it, you have to battle pretty much this town-sized dragon, and she is trapped inside of a cavern. And it's like I say, there's no coincidence, but she is trapped inside of a cavern, and you have to defeat her. But she is beautiful and purple. She's so black that she's purple, and but she is evil. But the name of the Madeira, that's what the name of the character is in the game. I was like, what's the chances of that? I remember this Madeira, and yet they have this character in the game that is Madeira, and it is a beautiful black dragon. But that's what I know about those two. But one is still, she has been removed. She was trapped, and as far as I know, Merlin went down after the War of Agarthia to try to help her because even she needed healing from being traumatized. Even though she was a bad character, she needed healing from being traumatized. And therefore, I do know that she has been removed from us so that we don't have to worry about that negativity anymore. But she is on another world that allows her to be what she is. And it's kind of like a reserve. Let her be what she is, as long as she's not harming nobody, like having a T-Rex. Just put them out there where you can watch it, but don't mess with them. Don't mess with it. No. But they are very, very beautiful characters. The Mother White Dragon is here, and on that outside of the first inner ice wall, there's a whole bunch of continents out there that we are unaware of, and there's actually a continent that is just for her. And that's where you will find the dragons, the fays, the fairies, the unicorns, the gnomes, dwarves, and all this kind of good stuff. That is their safe haven.
Wow. And wow, just fascinating and great question, guys. Appreciate you guys. Hot it up, everybody that's following us here now. Drop a like, a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. Tag others. We're having a fascinating. We're going over here for an hour and 18 minutes. And I got a few more questions, guys. So if you guys have any questions for us, drop it in and we'll be happy to answer here. And here's a question that's on a lot of people's minds.
Okay.
Tell us about the advanced technology that's already on Earth that no one talks about, like the Medbeds. That seems to be a lot of stories, a lot of things about. I know people out there trying to use it, act like they have access to it just to trick people into them, right? And then, guys, so Medbed, my understanding, it's free.
Yes.
And you shouldn't have to pay or none of that stuff. And Alisa, you can already correct me. That's correct.
Yeah.
And so tell us about that, Alisa. Tell us about the Medbed. It's like some of you guys might can think about like in the Star Wars, and I'm putting a visual over here for you all that haven't heard about it yet. So tell us about this advanced technology, Alisa.
This advanced technology has been here since Eisenhower, and because he actually made a treaty with the Greys. You can actually go look it up. It's called the Negrata No, the Grata Treaty. I apologize, my brothers and sisters. It almost slipped off my cracker. The Granada Treaty, and that was done with Eisenhower. That if he can get this technology, then they will allow them to, abduct so many of us a year and do experiments on us. It will make you mad when you read it, so just be prepared. But he sold us out. But they got that technology even back then, and the elites have been able to use it. And I've had people say, well, if the elites have had it, how come a lot of these people look really old and like prunes and stuff? Well, it is based off of your frequency, your vibration, and it can fix the things on the inside of them, a heart, liver, whatever, but it cannot change their outside because their frequency is not high enough. And but it's been here for a long time. And because they can't rejuvenate the outside of them, is where all of the horrendous stuff comes into play of what they've done to these children to get, that stuff out of them. Hey, Kenna.
I have everybody over here saying hi. My favorite subject.
Yeah.
Hello, and everybody over here interacting. I love it. I love it. No, very interesting. Because we hear a lot of things about the med. But tell us more, Alisa. When do you think the med bed will be available for the public, in your opinion?
I do believe that it's going to start happening by 2030, because that's what God has showed me, that we are so close to the precipice. And so, we can see the light at the end of the tunnel. And enough of us have raised our frequency, that, like during the eclipse, that they couldn't come in here because it was too contaminated. But because our frequency has raised so much, that gave them an opening to come in during the eclipse, and all these different races that came here to help us. And they came in by the millions, my brothers and sisters. I'm not talking about just a million people. I'm talking about a million ships. Okay. And they all are parked over in Tartaria. But this advanced technology has been here for so long. And all of us, we've had to watch our family and friends and stuff suffer whenever they had this technology that could have saved them. Okay, so I mean that does infuriate you, because we don't want to lose anybody. But now that we are aware of this, and we've had the Tartarians and the Palladians and the Lyrans, and a few other races, but I'm gonna just leave those three main ones, that has helped us bring this technology here, from the fake moon base, which is a ship, and to all of these medbed facilities are under the ground. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of these medbed facilities underneath the ground, inside of mountains, in the water, on islands, and stuff like this here. And then somebody asked me, "But why is that?" I said, "Because that gives us security. You cannot put something like that out on the playing field with these negative beings still there, because then you're going to take a chance of them bombing it. Oh, it's satanic. Oh, you're just following the devil. They're going to cause all kinds of conflict. So it makes sense to keep them in secure places." And then I've had people say, "Well, how do we get to use these med beds? How do we get to go there?" Well, that is actually based off of your frequency. Okay. The more love and stuff that you have in the heart is better. As long as you have like 51% of love and service to others in your heart, you will get your chance. Okay. But the ones that are higher frequency are the ones that, as the best way to say it is that, like you're on an airplane, you got to put your mask on before you do the child. Well, we need that. We are the way showers. We're the leaders. We're the guides. We are the teachers, the scientists, all of this kind of good stuff incognito. So whenever we get access to these med beds, like for me, I'm going to use me, but whenever I get out of that med bed, I will automatically know that Carlos is one of my team members. Angie is one of my team members. Kenna, my famous friend Kenna.
Let's go, sister.
You
And
will
Alisa,
know this stuff, and then you will go collect those, and then those will go collect more, and then those will go collect more. But by no means do I want to say that all the critical is first. And that makes absolutely sense. All the people that are in the hospital. Now, there will be some people that will still pass away. Is because, like, you got people who are in coma, or people who are mentally handicapped, and they can't think and function themselves. So that is what God is doing on its own. You will know if that person stays, then you know that their frequency was high enough. And if they do pass on, that just means that their contract ended. Okay, so please don't think of it being a negative or punishment or anything like this here. It's just part of their contract.
interesting. And Alisa, as we're getting towards the end, and this I bet you is going to be the first of many interviews over the years.
Yeah.
And normally at the end, every guests that been on my show, incredible guests like yourself, CEOs, celebrities, athletes, incredible individuals that have been here on this. Highly recommend you guys go and check it out. Some of the past episodes. This is gonna be episode number 57.
Ooh.
And I start filming them every 2, 3 months in the last year, and I'm gonna get back to doing every week. And the last question that I normally ask is, I have somebody tell me about the eulogy. What would you like to be known for? But in this case, since we are not gonna die, we're gonna be eternal beings with the Medbeds
Mm,
over here on Terra, Gaia, Earth.
mm.
What would you like to be known for, my sister?
I would like to be known for being one of the way showers to that woke up my brothers and sisters and got them across the finish line. You know, that's my goal because I love all of you so much. I have no words to explain it, but I did come bearing some gifts to let you know how much love I have in my heart for you and that what God has done to me and to see this transformation and perspective and personality from what was to what is now and going forward. And God has allowed me to feel and consume and maintain the love that I have for each and every one of you because I know that you are me and I am you and you are my family. And I want to be able to help wake you up and take you back where we're supposed to go. So, and I do like
Amen.
came bearing gifts to express those ways, those things. Yeah.
Amen. This is so beautiful, beautiful. Well said. Thank you so much, Alisa. I really appreciate you, my friend, being here on the show. The guests, they're showing so much love. We got people here with us this whole time, dropping so much love on the comments on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube. Once we are done here, this show is also going to be uploaded into the podcast, carlosinspireshow.com. And
Yeah.
everybody, you guys can listen to
So
all the episodes. Incredible people. And
yeah.
Alisa, any final words, and where can our viewers find you online? Where do you hang out online? The best way to contact you? Any final words and the best place to find you, my friend?
Well, I started out on Honey C. Golden's channel, and I still do. I still go over there and do shows with her, and I'm very grateful that she has allowed me to use her platform to be able to speak to my brothers and sisters. And I am doing other interviews now, you being one of them. But that's where I started out at, and I do have a little itty bitty YouTube channel. It's nothing really big, but we'll see what happens. But that's where you can find me at. Is he'll have the link down below, and also I had brought some songs that I wrote for my brothers and sisters, and it'll. I hope it touches your heart as much as it touched mine because God really did help me write this from my heart for all of you. And it is three different songs, but they all have their own personal meaning. So, and the first one that you'll hear is my theme that I'm taking with me wherever I go because it's all about you. It's all about you, all about us.
And
So,
I gotta vouch for her songs, guys. It's incredible, beautiful, powerful songs. I even joke with Alisa, probably gonna have to be her manager, getting the songs out there. They're incredible. My wife and I, we were dancing to her. It's beautiful songs. You can feel the love. It's from
mhm,
the heart. You guys can see her soul, and you know, it's like you see what you get. It's no
yeah,
script in here. It's no AI. It's just Alisa being in her purity. And I really appreciate you, sister. I want to thank you. I want to thank every single person here commenting. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for joining us, guys, in this journey into the unknown. What an incredible show. I want you guys to remember that the universe is vast
yeah,
and our understanding is just the beginning
yes,
that's to unfold and to untold all that is to come. So keep following my sister Alisa. Follow me here. We're going to be having more future shows. I already know, seeing this much love. Stay curious, keep questioning. And until next time, you want to say something else as well, my friend?
yes, I do. Everybody knows that I'm going to say this. So, my brothers and sisters, remember you are everything you see, no exception. So be kind to it.
Amen, amen, amen. And keep shooting for the moon, my friends, because you guys, like my grandma used to say, you aim for the stars. So keep shooting for the moon. That even if you miss, you're gonna land among the stars. Never forget the life is all about the mission, never the commission. And remind yourself whenever you are feeling tired, you're gonna think about myself, a 300-pound, 6'5" gorilla teddy bear from the jungle. When you feel tired or you wanted to give up, know that in those dark times you find light. Know that the days that breaks us are truly the days that makes us. God bless you all. Have an outstanding day. Much love.
Yes. Thank you.
Bam, bam.